Let's go ahead and watch WillE's video talking about TBC. 3, 2, 1.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, Willie here. So this will be a recap from day 2 of BlizzCon. Like the last video, it's just more of an information dump if you haven't had time to watch everything that's been happening over the past 24 hours, because there's been information coming out from all different sources on the web, to news articles, Q&A panels, player-run interviews. There's just been a whole bunch of stuff, and there's a lot more positive new information that we've received. So let's get straight into it. 2.43 has been confirmed to be the baseline patch that will be used. No surprises there. However, 2.43 is only taken as an attitude towards classes, spells, talents, and...
Could you imagine you're playing Classic TBC, and like every 4 months, you log in, and your gear is re-itemized, and your talent tree is fucked with, it's like talent changes, and your spell coefficients are different. That happens like every 4 months, like, because that's like what happened back in the day, right? So if they actually went patch by patch by patch by patch, it'd just be like kind of annoying, probably.
And I believe itemization as well. But for other areas of the game, Blizzard are going to look at them on a case-by-case basis to make it fit in with how they should have been during the appropriate period in time. No class tuning will be happening beyond this, only changes to address.
Every time I see a Blood Elf in Tier 5, you know what I think of? A Blood Elf Warlock in Tier 5, I think of Nim. Nim, the old you made like the music videos. Yeah.
Faction balance, like these shared paladin seals
what's up, Jerome?
that
hey,
we
dude.
already know about. The whole thing is a bit of a pick and mix, as in summoning stones will be in from launch. The leveling changes from 2.3, which reduced the experience required for levels between 10 and 60 by about 30%, are due to be in from launch. And I imagine Mud Sprocket in Dustswallow Marsh would be as well. Being able to mount at level 30, which is introduced on 2.43 as well, appears as though it will be in, so that'll be good for when you're leveling your alts. However, things like nerfed or removed attunements won't change until they are consistent with the patch where that happened to them originally. So for example, in patch 2.4, Karazhan no longer needed an attunement where everybody in the raid had to have the key, just for one person to be able to open the front gate or the side entrances, and rogues should be able to do this as well. It's a bit like how Upper Blackrock Spire works at the moment with the Seal of Ascension, and when the attunements were removed, titles were also added to reward people who had done them at the appropriate period during the expansion, like Hand of Adal, for example. Guild banks are also...
Well, Hand of Adal and Champion of Naru, those were there always, from the get-go. It doesn't matter, this is like a useless, like correction, but they were there the entire time. They weren't only added after they were made unnecessary.
So being considered for launch at the moment. I think they would be in personally, but we'll see. There is an intention.
So no camera attunement? No. This means, yeah, that all the attunements are needed. Like, they will probably have revered heroic keys for heroic dungeons. You need to be revered with whatever reputation. It'll mean you need to get your Karazhan key, so you have to do the Karazhan attunement question. It means you have to get the attunement done to enter T5 and T5 content for SSC and TK, and it means you also have to do the attunement to get into Black Temple, which involves killing TK and SSC, and also Rage, Winter, Chill, and Hyjal.
To nerf drums of battle in some way, quoting from an interview that Mr. GM did yesterday, is that there is some kind of minor adjustment so it doesn't feel compulsory for everyone to do it. I was confident this was coming. We don't know exactly what way they will be nerfed yet. I would suspect the Tinnitus debuff, which was added in a later phase of TBC, which puts a 2-minute cooldown after having received the beneficial buff from drums on your entire group, which effectively kills rotating them instantly.
Well, wait. Okay, hold up. Let me do 2.4 3 database. Actually, I can just ask you guys, what is the cooldown on drums? You can pop it once every 2 minutes or once every 2.5 minutes. What's the cooldown like on your actual item? 2.4.3 database. It's 2 minutes? Yeah, okay. So that means only one person per group is going to need to have leatherworking. That's not me. I'm not going to do that. It's not me. I'm not doing that.
We haven't had any further confirmation whether group swapping will be changed as of yet. Back in the day, this wasn't changed until Wrath of the Lich King. At the moment, group swapping will allow things like changing an Arresto Shaman to drop a Mana Tide for your mage group if they're arcane. And the biggest offender will definitely be regarding Heroism and Bloodlust, where you'll have Shamans rotated into your highest damage dealing groups to give them a constant rolling Bloodlust effect. Fresh has been brought up for Classic, to which we got the answer there are no plans to release Classic Fresh servers alongside TBC.
I don't know. Hey, super geniuses. Would it be best let's say Bloodlust and Drums don't share cooldown, so you can stack them. Would it be best, math geniuses, would it be best to stack Drums while Bloodlust is popped, to do them both at the same time, or to do them at separate times? Which is best? There is actually like a very mathematical answer here. I just don't know the answer. Is same time best or different time best? Yes. Okay. You don't know. Okay.
However, they could be considered after a successful release of the expansion. I personally believe that they will release Fresh Classic later on down the line when there is a bit of a content drought in TBC to sort of bridge the gap and give players something to do. I don't think they'd want the release of new Classic servers to compete with the Burning Crusade. They also mentioned there is an expectation for players to divide over the Classic Era server and TBC servers, which I find pretty hard to believe, really. I think the vast majority of the player base will be moving forwards into TBC, and the only real thing that would push a sizable amount of players back onto Classic would be Fresh. There's been no mention of TBC Fresh. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. We should expect layering to be back.
Okay, let me ask you this. If at some point in the future they do Classic Vanilla Fresh, would you want to see the new Classic Vanilla Fresh, like a year from now, right? Give people some time off. When they do it... No, let me ask you. You haven't even heard the question yet. You haven't even heard the question yet. When they do it, and you know they will, stop answering. You haven't even heard the question. Shut the fuck up. Listen. When they do it, would you want it to have a faster timeline? Rather than a 1.5 year timeline, pushing 2 years timeline, would you rather have like a 14-month timeline to have it more compact, more compressed, pump out the phases more quickly? Personally, I would. I think that would make it more fun. It would make it more challenging too, because you would have fewer raid lockouts to farm your... Like, you would have fewer Molten Cores before Blackwing Layer comes out, which would make Blackwing Layer harder. You would have fewer Blackwing Layers before AQ40 came out, which would make AQ40 harder, right? I think that would be kind of fun. It'd be kind of fun. Same time frame, but with some different changes. Okay? What if they did same time frame, but like no world buffs? What if they did faster time frame and no world buffs? What if... Hear me out... What if they did 2 times slower time frame and double the world buffs? They added new world buffs. They put different world buffs in the game, so it takes twice as long for the content to come out, and there's 2 times as many world buffs, and 2 times as many layers. It's double layered. And it's 2 times the dungeon boosting XP. And they add WoW token and WoW tokens. Right? And 2 times the bots. They're going to let bots. They said, bots, come on. 2 times the bots also.
For launch, of course, I don't think there are any surprises there, and Blizzard are still going with this as their way to make the game playable when they have such a huge volume of players being thrown at it. They've said that the servers are more stable than they were early on in Classic, and they're considering increasing the capacity of individual realms, which are expecting a lot of traffic. They also mentioned there have been further improvements to layering even when it was not being used, such as the PvP cooldown, it being less abusable, no double node spawning, and a cooldown between jumping layers in general being solved, though they are willing to make changes to things in-game if they become issues, along the line of what they did with the Black Lotus in Classic by increasing their spawns. We got confirmation of how arenas will work in terms of titles and rewards. So back then there was a technical limitation of players being linked to certain data sites depending where they were playing in their region. For example, there were 13 battle groups in North America, so there were 13 rank 1 players. This technical limitation does not exist anymore, as we have seen throughout the duration of Classic, where we have region-wide battleground matchmaking.
That's right. So we were talking about this earlier before Joker hosted. There are no battle groups now. So every Classic server in North America is on the same there's one battle group. This is on the same North American battle group. So if you're on Fairlina and I'm on Peggle, there's another guy on Whitemane and on Herod and on this and that, we can all queue arena into each other, and we can queue into each other and do also battlegrounds with each other. This also changes the way that Gladiator titles are going to be handed out a little bit. Well, the thing is, with Challenger, Rival, Duelist, and Glad, it was a percentage off the top. So that actually stays the same. So it's still your top 0.5% of players are going to get Glad. That's your top 0.5% of people all across North America, or Europe if you're European. But then the rank 1 situation is such that the rank 1 team in 2s, 3s, and 5s got the only rank 1 team got the title. So they probably have to make that a percentage thing, whereas in the past that wasn't a percentage thing. It'll probably be like top 0.1 rather than 0.5, right? That's like an easy fix, though. Easy.
So it won't be one person as it was back in the day getting the rank 1 rewards, but a very small percentage of top players.
No, to answer the question, you can still only queue arena with people that are on your realm, but you can queue against people. You'll queue against people that are anywhere in North America, right? But you can still only like be on the same team or initiate queues with people that you can see on your realm, right?
I imagine this will trickle down to the lower tier rewards as well. Also, as far as I'm aware, there will be no rating requirement for Season 1 or Season 2 arena.
And that's how it was back in the day. And then Season 3 and Season 4 did have rating requirements. And the rating requirements are actually pretty high, like 2K, 2.1K. And that's pretty high rating in TBC. Do regular gladiators get mounts? Yeah, regular gladiators get mounts. And for one season, they get the title gladiator. And then they lose it the next season. So if you get gladiator in Season 1, going into Season 2... For Season 2, you have the title Gladiator, and you have that mount, always. But then when Season 3 comes out, you lose the Gladiator title that you earned in Season 1. So you only have that title for the following season. If you're rank 1 Gladiator, you get the permanent title, Merciless Gladiator. You have that always. Or you get the title Vengeful Gladiator. You have that always.
Arena gear, though there will be for Season 3 and 4. They also expressed that following the initial release of the phase schedule that they are very likely to be changing when arena seasons will launch. The new plans are to move every single season one step forwards and to have no season in Zul'Aman. So, for example, Season 1 will be in Phase 1 with Tier 4, Season 2 in Phase 2 with Tier 5, Season 3 in Phase 3 with Tier 6, at the start of Tier 6, that being Hyjal and Black Temple. Zul'Aman, which is Phase 4, will have no season, and Season 4 will be in Phase 5 along with the Sunwell.
This is exactly as it should be. People are saying, what rating requirements? Starting in Season 3 and Season 4, you need to have a certain arena rating requirement. You need to have a personal rating in arena in order to buy that current season's arena gear. So to buy your Season 3 shoulders, you might have to have a 2.1k arena rating. But in Season 1 and Season 2, doesn't matter what rating you have, you can be a total shit player. As long as you save up the arena points, you can buy the gear, no problem. It's Season 3, Season 4, they have a rating requirement to buy that current gear.
World Bus from Classic WoW will only work up to level 63, good riddance to them. They didn't mention consumable stacking, but I'm also assuming that this will be nerfed alongside it, as that was the change that was made back in the day. In another interview on a Czech site, which I had to go through Google Translate, so I'm pretty sure some bits are off, but it says restrictions on entry to dungeons, 30 per day, have been added to Classic WoW due to frequent misuse of shoes. Well, I guess we've been abusing shoes for too long. The day was going to happen eventually. But it goes on to say they are considering raising the dungeon cap limit per day due to TBC dungeons being shorter. Wrath of the Lich King is of course on the table. I'm sure the developers knew they were going to be asked that as soon as they said they would do TBC. Very much in the same vein as how Brack was asked whether TBC would be a thing when they were releasing Classic. And we got the exact same answer. If it goes well, yes. Personally, I think as soon as they announce TBC that Wrath is a real no-brainer to follow it up from. So in a few...
Isn't it kind of weird that they're dropping like new / exclusive information in a Czech article? Like very few people worldwide speak Czech. So it makes sense to like have, like, you can do that interview, that's fine, that's great, but like Blizzard should at least release an official checklist, no pun intended, of new features coming with TBC. Like they should put it all out there.
Few years to come, we'll be heading off to Northrend, there's no doubt in my mind. Other than that, they also confirmed there is no new story development or additional races, professions, or game systems planned. Blizzard want to make Classic the journey that they did back in the day and how they remember it. So Classic Plus, not on the table at this point in time. Blizzard have also expressed interest in making use of some of the elements within the retail LFM tool in the Burning Crusade version. So an actual group finder was introduced at the start of TBC, and its purpose was mainly to get chat, which was in channels that it shouldn't have been, off to the group finder instead.
I remember
However,
this.
it was quite rudimentary in the way that it worked and didn't really fulfill its purpose. It may have been a different experience on your server, but myself, I don't remember making frequent use of it at all. Ever since Warlords of Draenor, there has been a looking for more tool in retail or a pre-made group tab. which people use to frequently organize Mythic plus groups. Blizzard have also expressed that they do not want this to be akin to the Wrath of the Lich King group finder, which is...
Is there a problem with them adding this functionality to Classic TBC? Just side note, this doesn't queue you up and teleport you to the dungeon. This is only to help you find groups. It does not teleport you there. It does not... No teleports, nothing. Frankly, I am not really opposed to it. I don't really care a whole lot. Like, having used this tool in retail WoW, I don't really think it's that intrusive. What it does do is take people out of, looking for group chat. Because right now in Classic, people are spamming around the clock and looking for group, right? So it takes these people out of here, waiting to sell DMF buffs, and it puts them in that sort of, looking for group panel. So it makes this shit look better and more accessible, right? I wonder how many people play this game that don't even know that looking for group chat exists. Because you have to intentionally join this chat channel. I bet like over half the people that play Classic WoW, I bet they don't even know that this channel exists. And so they're completely excluded from this group finding functionality because it's not very intuitive to join, right? So, I don't know. Like, I don't really think it's that big of a deal, to be perfectly honest with you, going into TBC.
What a lot of people will hear group finder.
I'm not like for it or against it. I just don't care. That's my stance. It's like, to me, it's like, whatever.
And sort of panic and instantly think of that. There's no desire here to automate putting your group together, nor to teleport directly to a dungeon. It sounds as though it'll just be an upgraded version of what they were going for in TBC, which they got working very well in retail, and would just be a straight up improvement on the system that they would...
Well, yeah, like keep in mind, what he showed, this is what is already in TBC. It is effectively the same thing, just with a worse UI. With a worse user interface. So, considering it's already there, just with kind of a shitty interface, like... it's just like, whatever. I don't know, man. You know what else was in TBC? They added in-game voice chat. Who here, at some point in late TBC, tried to use the in-game voice chat functionality? It was so fucking bad. It was so bad... They actually removed it. But for a while, it was there. And it was fucking terrible. But they tried it. They tried it. It was bad, man. It was bad.
Which they got working very well in retail and would just be a straight-up improvement on the system that they would otherwise implement. I think about a change which has come into Classic like this, and I think instantly of the raid frames that we now have.
Look at this guy's frames. Look at the frames. He's just like all over the fucking place. He's just shoving them in wherever it's overlapping with this chat. He's got two of them overlapping. He's got his party frames on. Nice, man.
Can't think of a single person who's saying the game has been ruined because we have Cataclysm era raid frames, which are frankly just an absolute mile better than the ones back from in the day. They are simply an upgraded version that do the job better without breaking.
Look at this. Wait a minute. Numidia, you're in a guild with Willie. This is Numidia right here. The warrior. He's tanking. You wouldn't even believe it. You're famous, man.
The game in any other way than convenience. So I can certainly see them going ahead and putting this in, and I think it would be fine as well. That's it then. That's the day 2 roundup. There's been a lot more exciting news there, and I'm pretty happy with everything that I've heard, actually. I feel like we have some guys at Blizzard here, particularly Brian Birmingham. I like him a lot and everything he's said. He comes across as some...
Here's the thing, dude. What did they do with Omar Gonzalez? We haven't heard from him. We haven't seen him. We don't even know if he's alive. What the fuck did they do to Omar Gonzalez, man? Removed him. They replaced him with Holly. Instead of Omar this year, they brought out Holly. Wait a minute. What if Omar is Holly? It's 2021. If that's the case, I think it's beautiful. Frankly. I don't know if that's true. There's nothing wrong with that. If it is true, I think that's beautiful and lovely.
somebody who really understands the game and what kind of journey the players would want to go on that would make sense for the majority of the player base.
Yeah, I for one am mad that they spent so little time reminiscing about Holly's interactions with the Fel Reaver during their hour-long deep dive of TBC. I wish they spent more time talking about her adventures in Hellfire Peninsula with the Void Reaver, or with the fucking Fel Reaver. Oh man, I wish they'd spent more time talking about that.
Let me know what you think.
I want to know more about that.
Thank you so much for watching and listening in, and I'll see you in the next one very soon.
Oh man. Yeah, luckily she had feigned death. Yeah, true on her Night Elf Hunter named Holly. Yeah, thank God. Thank God, man. Okay, yo, let me link this video.